no. Ermengarde is not for you, nor for anybody else who can't support her.
I tell you, I can support her. I make a very good living.
No, sir. A living is made, Mr. Kemper, by selling something that everybody needs at least once a year.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And a million is made by producing something that everybody needs every day. You artists produce something that nobody needs at any time.
That's not true.
Yes, sir, Mr. Kemper. Nobody wants a painting, Mr. Kemper. You go back to your studio. And when you finish painting your sunset on lesson, why don't you try hope? Melting a snowbank, or how about love feeding a family? There's a subject for you.
Very well. From now on, you might as well know that I regard any way you can find getting married is right and fair. Ermengarde is an age, and it's no longer
law. Let me tell you, most of the people in the world are fools. The law is there to prevent crime. We men of sense are there to prevent foolishness. It is I, and not the law, that will prevent Ermengarde from marrying you. And I've taken some steps already. I've sent her away.
You sent her away?
Yes, get this nonsense out of her head.
Ermengarde's not here?
Oh, you can find her in Syracuse, or Albany, or try to Peekskill or Utica. I thank you for the honor of your visit.
Everything's ready, Mr. Van de Gelder. I've just finished packing the trunk. Ermengarde's been helping me.
Hold your tongue!
Yes, Mr. Van de Gelder. Ermengarde's ready to leave. Her trunk's all marked. Careless smell poison, 8 Jackson Street, New York.
Hell and damnation! Didn't I tell you it was a secret?
Miss Benoit, 8 Jackson Street, New York. Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Van de Gelder.
It won't help you, Mr. Kemper! Jack, at least you can do me the favor of being dumb.
Such up temper. Lord save us.
Yes, Mr. Van de Gelder.
Go in and get my niece's trunk. Carry it over to the station.
Yes, Mr. Van
Oh, wait.
de
Gertrude. Has Mrs. Levi arrived yet?
Don't shout. I can hear perfectly well. Certainly the labels for the luggage are ready.
Have the buggy right around to the front of the store in half an hour.
Yes, sir.
Cornelius, this afternoon, I'm leading my lodge parade down to Street DeVille. Then I'm going to New York. Before I go, I have some important news for you and Barnaby. Good news. That is, I'm going to promote you. How old are you?
33, Mr. Van de Gelder.
What?
33.
That's all? That's a foolish age to be at. I thought you were 40.
No, I'm 33, Mr. Van de Gelder.
Man's not worth a cent until he's 40. All we do is pay him wages to make mistakes, don't we, Joe?
Yeah, you almost lost an ear on it, Mr. Van de Gelder.
I was thinking of promoting you to chief clerk.
Well, what am I now, Mr. Van de Gelder?
You're an impertinent fool, that's what you are. Now, if you behave yourself, I'll promote you from impertinent fool to chief clerk, with a raise in your wages. And Barnaby may be promoted from idiot apprentice to incompetent clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Van de Gelder.
However, I want to talk to you and Barnaby before I go. Going to get my niece's trunk.
Yes, Mr. Van de Gelder.
Joe, the world's going crazier every minute. Like my father used to say, the horses will be taking over the world soon. Bye.
I did what I could, Mr. Van de Gelder. What would you flying in and out of your chair?
Fine. Joe, you do a fine job. Same fine job you've done me for 20 years. Joe, I got some special reasons for looking my best today. Isn't there something a little extra you can do? Something a little special? Huh? I'll pay you right up to 50 cents, see what I mean? Do some of those things you do to the young fellas. You know, touch me up a bit and smart me up.
All I know is 15 cents worth like usual, Mr. Van de Gelder. And that includes everything that's using your tutor, man.
Now, hold your horses,
I've
Joe.
stayed here for 20 years. You never asked me no such questions before.
Hold your horses, I say, Joe. I'm going to tell you a secret. But I don't want you telling it to that riffraff down at the barber shop, and I'm going to be telling you now. All I ask is something a little extra, because I'm thinking of getting married again. And this very afternoon, I'm going to New York to call on my intended. A very refined lady.
You're getting married and none of my business, Mr. Van de Gelder. I've done everything to you I know. And charge is 15 cents, like it always is. And I don't dye no hair. Not even for
Joe Scanlon, get out!
And lastly, it looks to me like you're pretty rare because who's a fool and who's not a fool, Mr. Van de Gelder. People that ate onions is a bad judge of someone who's ate onions in a way. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning,
Mr. Van de Gelder.
The world's going crazy. The asylums can't hold them all. They're flooding the country. What do you want?
Uncle, you said you wanted to talk to us.
Oh, yeah. Gertrude, go in and get my parade regalia. The outfit for my lodge parade.
What? Oh, yes. Lord have mercy.
Ermengarde, I had a talk with that artist of yours.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. He's a fool. Weeping. You can go down and weep for a while in New York where it won't be noticed. Ermengarde, I told him when you were old enough to marry, you'd marry someone who could support you. I've done you a good turn. You'll come and thank me when you're 50.
Oh, but I love him.
I tell you, you don't.
But I do.
And I tell you, you don't. Leave those things to me.
Oh, if I don't marry April, I know I'll die.
What of?
A broken heart.
Never heard of it. Mrs. Levi is coming in a moment to take you to New York. You're going to stay 2 or 3 weeks with Miss Van Huysen, an old friend of your mother's. You're not to receive any letters except for me. I'm coming to New York myself this afternoon, and I'll call on you tomorrow. Who are you?
Malachi Stack, Your Honor. I heard you're an apprentice in the hay, feed, provision, and hardware business.
An apprentice at your age?
Yes, Your Honor. I bring a lot of experience to it.
Have you any letters of recommendation?
Yes, indeed, Your Honor. First-class recommendation.
Are you ready to start?
Yes.
Well, go and get ready some more. Oh, and, Ermengarde, let me know the minute Mrs. Levi gets here.
Yes. Uncle Horace.
Well, I don't want an able seaman, nor a typesetter, and I don't want a hospital cook.
No, Your Honor, but it's all experience. Excuse me. This one's from your former partner, Joshua Van Toyle in Albany.
Oh, Van Toyle. For the most part, honest and reliable. Occasionally willing and diligent. There seems to be a certain amount of hesitation about these recommendations.
All businessmen aren't right, Your Honor. There's only one businessman in 1,000 that can write a decent letter of recommendation. Mr. Van Toyle sends his best wishes. Wants to know if you can use me in the provision and hardware.
Not so fast, not so fast. Tell me, why did you come to Yonkers?
Well, I heard you had an apprentice that was good for nothing, and that you were at your wits' end for another.
Wits in, wits in. There's no dearth of good-for-nothing apprentices.
You're right, Mr. Vandergelder. It's employers there's a dearth of. Seems like you hear of a new one dying every day.
What's that? Hold your tongue! See, you've been a barber, and a valet, too. Tell me, why did you change your place so long?
Change my place, Mr. Vandergelder? When a man's interested in experience...
Do you drink?
No, thanks, Mr.
I didn't ask you whether, idiot. I asked you if you were drunk.
Oh, no, sir, no. Looking at it from all sides, I don't even like liquor.
Well, if you keep on looking at it from all sides, out you go, remember that. Here. With all your faults, I'm gonna give you a try.
You'll never regret it, Mr. Vandergelder. You'll never regret it.
Now, I want to use you today in New York. I judge you know your way around New York.
Do I know New York? Mr. Vandergelder, I
Here's
know
the
it.
Take that bag to the Central Hotel on Water Street. Have them save me a room. Wait for me, I'll be there about 4 o'clock.
Yes, Mr. Vandergelder. Oh, but first, I'd like to meet the other clerks on the
You haven't time. Hurry now. Date's across the street.
Yes, sir. You'll see, sir. You'll never regret it.
I regret it already. Go on. Off with you. "99% of the people in the world are fools. The rest of us are in great danger of contagion. But I wasn't always free of foolishness as I am now. I was once young, which was foolish. I fell in love, which was foolish. Then I got married, which was foolish. And for a while I was poor, which was more foolish than all the other things put together. Then I was sensible of me, then I became a rich man, which is as sensible as it is rare. Since you see I'm a man of sense, I guess you were surprised to hear that I'm planning to get married again. Well, I have two reasons for it. In the first place, I like my house run on comfort, order, and economy. That's a woman's work. But even a woman can't do it well if she's merely being paid for it, no. In order to run a house well, a woman has to have the feeling that she owns it. Marriage is a bribe to make a housekeeper think she's a householder. Did you ever watch an ant carry burden twice its size? Oh, what patience, what excitement, what will. That's what I think of when I see a woman running a house. What giant passions in those little bodies. What quarrels with the butcher for the best cut. What fury at discovering a moth in the cupboard. Believe me, if women could harness their nature to something bigger than a house and a baby carriage, they'd change the world. And the second reason? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I see by your faces you've guessed it already. There is nothing like mixing with women to bring out all the foolishness in a man of sense. And that's a risk I'm willing to take. I just turned 60, and I've just laid side by side the last dollar of my first half million. So, if I should lose my head a little, I still have enough money to buy it back. After a year's caution and hard work, I have the right to a little risk and adventure. And I'm thinking of getting married. Yes, yes, yes. Like all you other fools, I'm willing to risk a little security for a certain amount of venture. Think it over.
My uncle saw you?
Get your hat.
My hat.
Quick. Your truck's at the station. Now quick. We're running away.
Running away? Where?
To New York. Get married.
Oh, Ambrose, I can't do that.
Why?
Well, Ambrose, dear, it wouldn't be proper.
Well, listen. I'm taking you to my friend's house. His wife will take care of you.
Ambrose, a girl can't ride on a train alone with a man. I don't know anything about girls.
But I'm telling you, we're going to get married.
Married? What would Uncle say?
We don't care. We don't care what Uncle say. We're eloping.
Ambrose Killer! How can you use such an awful word?
Ermengarde, you have the soul of field.
Oh, Ambrose! Why do you say such cruel things to me?
For the last time I beg you, get your hat and coat. The train leaves in a few minutes.
Hello, darling girl. How are you? Good morning. Mrs. Levi?
Oh, and who is this gentleman who is so devoted to you?
So, Mrs. Levi, this is Ambrose Kemper. Ambrose, this is Mrs. Levi.
Mrs. Levi Bourne Gallagher. I'm very happy to meet you, Mr. Kemper. Mr. Kemper, the artist, delighted. Mr. Kemper, may I say something very frankly?
Yes, Mrs. Levi.
This thing you are planning to do is a very great mistake.
Oh, Mrs. Levi, please explain to Ambrose. Of course I want to marry him. But you elope.
Oh, now, dear, you go and keep an eye on your uncle. I wish to speak to Mr. Kemper a moment. You give us a warning when you hear your Uncle Horace coming. Mr. Kemper, I was this dear girl's mother's oldest friend. Believe me, I am on your side. I hope to see the two of you married very soon, and I think I can say I can be of service to you. Mr. Kemper, I always go right to the point.
What is the point, Mrs. Levi? Levi.
Mr. Vandergelder is a very rich man, and Ermengarde is his only relative.
I'm not interested in Mr. Vandergelder's money. I have enough to support a wife and family.
Enough! How much is enough when one is thinking of children and the future? The future is the most expensive luxury in the world, Mr. Kemper.
Mrs. Levi, what is the point?
Believe me, Mr. Vandergelder wishes to get rid of Ermengarde, and if you will follow my suggestions, he will even permit her to marry you. You see, Mr. Vandergelder is planning to get married himself.
What? That monster?
Mr. Kemper.
Mary. To you, Mrs. Levi?
No. I am merely arranging it. I'm helping him to find a suitable bride.
For Mr. Vandergelder, there are no suitable brides.
Oh, I think we can safely say Mr. Vandergelder will be married to someone by the end of next week.
Well, what do you suggest, Mrs. Levi?
I'm taking Ermengarde to New York on the next train. I shall not take her to Miss Van Huysen's as is planned. I shall take her to my house. I wish for you to call for her at my house at 5:30. Here is my card.
Mrs. Dolly Gallagher Levi. Varicose veins reduced.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Beg your pardon. Consultations free.
I meant to give you my other card.
Mrs. Dolly Gallagher Levi. Aurora Hosiery. Instruction in the guitar and mandolin. You do all these things, Mrs. Levi.
Well, 2 and 2 make 4, Mr. Kemper, and they always did. So, you will call for Ermengarde at my house at 5:30. At about 6 o'clock, I shall take you both, along with myself, to the Harmonia Gardens restaurant on the Battery. Mr. Vandergelder will be there, and everything will be arranged.
How?
Oh, I don't know. One thing will lead to another.
How do I know that I can trust you, Mrs. Levi? You could easily make our situation worse.
Mr. Kemper, your situation could not possibly be any worse.
I wish I knew what you'd get out of this, Mrs. Levi.
Well, that is a very proper question. I get 2 things, profit and pleasure.
How?
Mr. Kemper, I am a woman who arranges things. At present, I am arranging Mr. Vandergelder's domestic affairs. Out of it, I get, shall we call them, yes, why don't we, little pickings? I need little pickings, Mr. Kemper, and especially just now, when I don't have trains there back to New York. You see, I am frank with you.
That is your profit, Mrs. Levi, but where do you get your pleasure?
Oh, my pleasure. Mr. Kemper, when you artists paint a river or a hillside, you change everything a little. You make thousands of little changes, don't you? Nature is never completely satisfactory and must be corrected. Well, I am like you artists. Life as it is never quite interesting enough for me. I'm bored, Mr. Kemper, with life as it is, so I do things. I put my hand in here, and I put my hand in there, and I watch, and I listen, and often I am very much amused.
Not in my affairs, Mrs. Levi.
Wait, I'm not finished. There's more. I'm interested in this household here, in Mr. Vandergelder and all of that frozen idle money of his. I don't like the thought of it lying in great piles, useless, motionless in the banks, Mr. Kemper. Money should circulate like rainwater. It should be flowing down among the people, dressmakers, cabmen, and restaurants, setting up a little business here, furnishing a good time there. Do you see what I mean? Yes, I do. New York should be a very happy city, Mr. Kemper, but it isn't. My late husband was from Vienna, Mr. Ephraim Levi. Oh, my, now there's a city that understands this. I want New York to be more like Vienna, and less like a collection of nervous and tired ants. And if you and Ermengarde get a good deal of Mr. Vandergelder's money, I want you to see that he contributes a lot of it to you, Ermengarde, and to several people.
Very nice, Mrs. Levi.
Can you do that?
We could get married.
Okay. What can we do to further this along? Mrs. Levi, Uncle Horace is coming. Oh, Mr. Kemper, you'd better be going. darling girl. Mr. Kimber and I have had a very good talk. You'll see, Mr. Vandergelder and I will be dancing at your wedding very, very soon. Oh, Mr. Vandergelder, how handsome you look. Oh, you take my breath away. Yes, dear, we'll see you later. Oh, how I wish Irene Malloy could see you now. But then, I don't know what's come over you, lady. You seem to be growing younger every day.
Allowing for exaggeration, Mrs. Levi. If a man eats careful, there's no reason he should look old.
Oh, you never said a truer word.
I'll never see 55 again.
55. Well, I can see at a glance that you're the sort that will be stepping about at 100, eating 5 meals a day, just like what's his name, my Uncle Harry. Oh, at 55, my Uncle Harry was a mere boy. I'm a judge of hands, Mr. Vandergelder. Show me your hand. Oh, Lord in heaven, what a lifeline.
Where?
Well, from here to here, it runs off your head. I don't know where it ends. They'll have to hit you in the head with a mallet. They'll have to stifle you with a sofa pillow. You'll bury us all. However, back to our business, Mr. Vandergelder. I suppose you've changed your mind again. I suppose you've given up all idea of getting married.
Oh, not at all, Mrs. Levi. I have news for you.
News?
Mrs. Levi, I've practically decided to ask Mrs. Malloy to be my bride.
You have?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have? Well, that's just about the best news I've ever heard. Oh, dear me. Well, there's nothing left for me to do but wish you every happiness under the sun and say goodbye.
Well, Mrs. Levi, surely I thought...
Well, I did have a little suggestion to make, but I don't. You're going to marry Irene Malloy, and that closes the matter.
What suggestion was that, Mrs.
Well,
Levi?
I had found another girl for you.
Another?
Oh, a wonderful girl, the ideal wife.
Another? What's her name?
Her name?
Yes.
Her name. Simple. Miss Ernestina Simple. Oh, but all that's too late. Why, you're engaged. You're practically engaged to marry Irene Malloy.
No, I ain't engaged with Mrs. Malloy.
Nonsense. You can't go and break poor Irene's heart now and change to another girl. When a man at your time in life calls 4 times on an attractive widow like that and sends a pot of geranium, why, it's practically an engagement.
That ain't an engagement.
Oh, but if only you were free. I found this treasure of a girl. Every minute, I felt like a traitor to Irene Malloy. But let me tell you, I couldn't help it. I've told this girl all about you as though you were a free man. Isn't that dreadful? The fact is, she's fallen in love with you already.
Ernestina.
Ernestina Simple.
Ernestina Simple.
Of course, she's a far different idea from Mrs. Malloy. Ernestina is, like her name, simple, domestic, practical.
Oh, kitchen cook.
Cook, Mr. Vandergelder. I've had 2 meals from her hands. And as I live, I don't know what I've done that God should reward me with such meals. I'm the best cook in the world myself, and I know what's good.
Mrs. Levi, how old is she?
19. Well, say 20.
20, Mrs. Levi. Oh, girls of 20 are apt to favor young fellows of their own age.
Oh, but you don't listen to me, and you don't know girls. Mr. Vandergelder, she has a positive horror of flighty, brainless young men. A fine head of gray hair, she says, is worth 20 shined with goose grease.
That's not usual, Mrs. Levi.
Usual? I'm not wearing myself to the bone hunting usual girls to interest you, Mr. Vandergelder. Usual indeed. Listen to me. Do you know what type of picture she has on her wall? Is it any of these young Romeos and Lochinvars? No. It's Moses on the mountain. That's what she's got. If you want to make her happy, give her a picture of Methuselah, surrounded by his grandchildren. That's my advice to you.
Oh, what's her family?
Her father. God be good to him. He was the best. What am I trying to say? The best undertaker in Brooklyn. Respected, esteemed. He knew all the best people, knew them well, even before they died. So, well, that's how that is. Now, let me tell you more of her appearance. Can you hear me? Listen. As I said before, a beautiful girl, beautiful. I've seen her walking down the street. You know what I mean. The young men get dizzy. They have to lean against the lamppost. And she, modest eyes on the ground. Oh, but I won't tell you anymore. Couldn't you possibly come over to New York today?
I was thinking of coming to New York this afternoon.
Oh, were you really? Well, now, I wonder if something could be arranged. She's so eager to see you. Let me see.
Could I, Mrs. Levi, could I give you two ladies a little dinner, maybe?
Oh, really? Come to think of it, I don't see how I could find the time. I'm so busy over that wretched lawsuit of mine. Yes, if I win it, I don't mind telling you, I'll be what's called a very rich woman. I'll own half of Staten Island, that's a fact. But just now, I'm at my wit's end for a little help. Just enough money to finish it off. My wit's end. Oh, perhaps I could arrange a little dinner. Will it be? Yes, for that lawsuit, all I need is $50, and Staten Island's as good as mine. I've been trotting all over New York for you, trying to find you a suitable bride.
$50?
2 whole months I've been trotting all over.
$50, Mrs. Levi, it's no joke. I don't know where money's gone to these days. It's in hiding. There's 20. $25. I can't spare no more, not now I can't.
Well, this will help. Will help somewhat. Now, I'll tell you what we'll do. At 6 o'clock, I'll bring Ernestina to that restaurant on the Battery. You know it, the Harmonia Gardens. It's good, but it's not too flashy. Now, Mr. Van Gelder, I think it would be nice if just this once you'd ordered something real nice for dinner. I guess you can't afford it.
Well, just this once.
Yes, a chicken wouldn't hurt.
Chicken. Well, just this once.
And a little wine.
Wine. Well, just this once.
Now, about Irene Malloy. What do you say? Should we call that subject closed?
No, not at all, Mrs. Levi. I want to have dinner with Miss...
Miss Simple.
with Miss Simple, but first I'd like to make another call on Mrs. Malloy.
Dear, dear, dear. And Miss Simple. What the races you make me run. Very well. I'll meet you on one of those benches in front of Mrs. Malloy's hat shop at 4:30 as usual.
The buggy's here ready for the parade, Mr. Van de Gelder.
Call Barnaby. I want to talk to both of you.
Yes, Mr. Van de Gelder?
Now, do get your thoughts in order, Mr. Van de Gelder. I can't keep upsetting and disturbing the finest women in New York City unless you mean business.
Oh, I mean business, all right.
I hope so, because it's a very dangerous game you're playing.
Dangerous, Mrs. Levi?
Of course it's dangerous, and there's a name for it. You're tampering with these women's affections, aren't you? And the only way you can save yourself now is to be married to someone by the end of next week. So, think that over.
This morning I'm joining my lawn parade. This afternoon I'm going to New York. When I come back, there are going to be some changes in the house. I'll tell you what the change is, but I don't want you discussing amongst yourselves. You're going to have a mistress.
I'm too young, Mr. Van de Gelder.
Not yours, death and damnation, not yours, idiot, mine. Hey, hold your tongue until you're spoken to. I'm thinking of getting married.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Van de Gelder. My compliments to the lady.
That's none of your business. Now go back to the store. you got a question you'd like to ask before I go?
Mr. Van de Gelder?
Yes.
Mr. Van de Gelder,
Yes, Cornelius.
well, Mr. Van de Gelder, does the chief clerk get one evening off every week?
That's the way to get me, chief clerk, is it? When I was your age, I got up at 5 in the morning. I didn't close the store until 10 at night, and then I put in a good hour at the account books. No, the world's going to pieces. You elegant ladies lie in bed till 6. And then at 9 o'clock at night, you rush to close the front door so fast a line of customers bark their noses. No, sir. You'll attend to the store as usual. And on Friday and Saturday nights, you'll remain open until 10. Now, hear what I say. This is the first time I've been away from the store overnight. When I come back, I want to hear that you've run the place perfectly. If I hear of any foolishness, I'll discharge you right to the bed. Set evening free. If you keep on asking for all your evenings free, you'll find yourself with your days free. Remember that. And don't forget to put the lid on the sheet dip.
The horses nearly ran away when they saw it. There he goes. What's the matter, Cornelius?
Chief clerk. Promoted from chief clerk to chief
Well,
clerk.
don't you like it?
Oh, and if I'm good in 10 years, I'll be promoted to chief clerk again. I'm 33 years old, and I still don't get an evening free. When am I going to begin to live?
Well, you can begin to live on Sundays, Cornelius.
That's not living. Twice to church and old wolf trap's eyes on the back of your head the whole time? And as for holidays, what did we do last Christmas? All those rotten tomatoes went bad and we had to clean up the store all afternoon. Was that living?
No.
Barnaby, how much money have you got where you can get your hands on it?
$3. Why, Cornelius?
Because you and I are going to New York.
Cornelius, we can't close the store.
Some more rotten tomatoes are going to explode.
Holy cabooses, how do you know?
Well, I know they're rotten. All you have to do is light a match under them. They'll make such a smell the customers can't come in here for 24 hours. That will get us an evening free. No, you and I are going to New York too, Barnaby, and we're going to live. Well, I'm going to have enough adventures to last me until I'm partner. So go and get your Sunday clothes on.
What?
I mean it. We're going to have a good meal. We're going to be in danger. We're almost going to get arrested. And we're going to spend all of our money.
Holy cabooses.
And one more thing, Barnaby. We are not coming back to Yonkers until we kissed a girl.
Kiss a girl. Cornelius, you can't do that. You don't know any girls.
Barnaby, I am 33 years old. I've got to start sometime.
Well, I'm only 17, Cornelius. It's not so urgent for me.
Now, don't you start backing down. If worse comes to worse and we get discharged from here, we can always join the army. Come on, Barnaby.
Did I hear you say that you were going to become a Wolf's partner?
How can I help you? You go to bed at 9 and open the store at 6. You get promoted upwards whether you like it or not.
Oh, my partner.
No, there's no doubt about it, Barnaby. You and I are going to be band together.
Oh, no. Now, I may rise a little, but I will never
Now
be
listen,
a band.
everybody thinks when he gets to be a rich person, he's going to be a different kind of rich person than the rich people he sees around him. But later on, he finds out there's only one kind of rich person, and he's it.
No, but I will never be
No.
a band.
No, the best thing would be to have all the good things of a poor person, but all the good meals of a rich person. But that's never been known. All the more reason for us to get some living and some adventure into us now. Oh, come on, Barnaby, where you go?
But Wolf, oh, girl, death.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
Cornelius.
Oh, it's beyond. We can make it all right.
Is the truck waiting at the railroad station?
Yes, Mrs. Levi.
Oh, take a last look, Ermengarde.
What?
Take I left my home, I gave a whinny like a young colt and off I went.
Oh, Gertrude, do you think that I should leave home like this? A young girl has to be so careful.
You know, think out of this room in blue wallpaper.
Yes.
In blue.
All clear, Peter Cornelius. Cornelius, hold the candle steady a minute. Oh, okay. Now, the bottom row's all right, but try the top now. Holy cabooses! They smell like they're ready to bust. Oh, holy cabooses! Cornelius,
Pardon me, we are going to New York.
Of course I shall marry Horace Vandergelder. Why, Mrs. Malloy, I wouldn't dream of asking you such a personal question. Well, it's what you meant, isn't it? And there's your answer. I shall certainly marry Horace Vandergelder if you should ask me. Oh, I know it's none of my... Speak up, Minnie. I can't hear you. But do you... Minnie, you're a fool. Say it. Do I love him? Of course I don't love him, but I have two good reasons for marrying him just the same. Minnie, put something on that hat. It's not ugly enough. Not ugly enough? I couldn't sell it. Put a sponge on it. Oh, you're such a look today. In the first place, I shall marry Horace Vandergelder to get away from the millinery business. I've hated it from the first day I had anything to do with it. Minnie, I hate hats. What's the matter with the millinery business? I can no longer stand being suspected of being a wicked woman while I have nothing to show for it. I can't stand it. Why, no one would dream of suspecting you. Minnie, you're a fool. All millineresses are suspected of being wicked women. Why, half the time, all those women come into the shop merely to look at me. They enjoy the suspicion, but they aren't certain. If they were certain I was a wicked woman, they wouldn't set foot in this place again. Do I go to restaurants? No. It would be bad for business. Do I go to operas or balls or theaters? No. It would be bad for business. The only men I ever meet are feather merchants. What are those two young men doing out there in the park? Take my word for it, Minnie. Either I marry Horace Vandergelder or I break out of this place like a fire engine. I'll go to every opera and ball and theater in New York City.
But Mr. Vandergelder's
Speak up, Minnie. I can't hear you.
Well, I don't think he's attractive.
But what I think he is, and it's very important, I think he'd make a good fighter.
Mrs. Malone!
Oh, take my word for it, Minnie. The best of married life is the fights. The rest is merely so-so.
I won't listen!
Now, Peter Malloy, God rest him, was a fine arguing man. I pity the woman whose husband slams the door and leaves the house at the beginning of an argument. Peter Malloy would stand up and fight for hours. He even throw things, Minnie. And there is no pleasure to equal that. When I felt tired, I'd start a good blood-warming argument, and it'd take 10 years off my age. Now, Horace Vandergelder would put up a good fight. I know it. I'm aligned to marry him.
I think they're just awful the things you're saying today.
Well, I'm enjoying them myself, too.
Mrs. Malone, those two men on the street.
What?
Those two men. It looks as if they might be coming here.
Well, now, Wisconsin men came into this place. Why, you need a younger one, Minnie.
Aren't you terrible?
Wait till I get my hands on that older one. Mark my words, Minnie. We'll get an adventure out of this yet. Adventure. Why is it that everybody has adventures except me, Minnie?
Mrs. Malone!
Because I have no spirit. I have no gumption. Oh, Minnie, they're coming in here. Let's go into the workroom and make them wait for us for a minute.
Oh, Mrs. Malone, my wife!
Hurry, Minnie, be quick now.
No one's here.
I just saw two ladies here a minute ago. Oh, that's old wolf trap, all right. But we'll just have to hide out here until he passes by.
But he's sitting down on that bench. It may be quite a while.
Well, we'll just have to make conversation with these ladies until he goes away. I know. We'll pretend we're buying a hat. How much money you got left, Carly?
Okay. There's 40 cents for the train, 70 cents for dinner, and 20 more cents to see the whale, and a dollar I lost. I have 70 cents.
Okay, and I've got $1.75. God, I wish I knew how much hats cost.
Is this an adventure, Cornelius?
No, but it may be.
I think it is. I mean, there we wander around New York all day long and nothing happens. And then we come to the quietest street in the entire city, and suddenly Mr. Vandergelder turns the corner. I think, Cornelius, that Mrs. Levi is there now. She's sitting on the bench with him.
Well, what do you know about that? We only know one person in all of New York City, and there she is.
Even if our adventure came along right now, I'd be too tired to enjoy it. Cornelius, why isn't this an adventure?
Stop asking that. When we're in an adventure, you'll know it.
Well, maybe I wouldn't. Hey, let's arrange a signal for you to give to me in case it's an adventure. Like say, you say to me, you say, pudding. You say pudding to me if it's an adventure word.
Where's that lady that owns this store? What was her name again?
Mrs. Malloy's hats for ladies.
Yes, I must think about what I'm going to say to her when she comes in here. Okay, all right. Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy. A wonderful weather we're having. We've been looking everywhere for some beautiful hats.
Oh, that's fine, Cornelius.
No. Okay, pardon me. Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy. We'll make her think we're very rich.
Okay.
We've been looking everywhere for some... You keep your eye on the door the whole time. We've been looking everywhere for some beautiful hats.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have I kept you waiting? Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Here, Cornelius, hat.
Here, bartender.
Very happy to meet you. Perhaps I can help you. Won't you sit down?
Yes, thank you. You see, Mrs. Malloy, we're looking for some hats.
Is that so?
Yes, so we've been looking everywhere. And you know what we heard? Go to Mrs. Malloy. That's what they said. So we came here. Only place we could go
Well,
there.
now that's very complimentary.
And they were right. I mean, everybody was right.
You're looking for some hats for a friend.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
We were thinking of 5 or 6, weren't we, Barnaby?
5.
You see, Mrs. Malloy, money is no object. No object at all. Oh, I beg your pardon. Oh, what an interesting street you have here. Something happening every minute. Passers-by.
You're from out of town, Mr. Hackle.
Yes, ma'am. Barnaby, keep your eye on the street the whole time. You won't see that in Yonkers every day.
Oh, yes, I will.
Not all of it.
Now this friend of yours, couldn't she come in with you someday and choose her hats herself?
No. No, you see, it's a surprise for her.
Oh, indeed. That may be a little difficult, Mr. Hackle. You see, it's not entirely customary. Your friend's very interested in the street, Mr. Hackle.
Yes, he has reason to be.
You say you're from out of town?
Yes, we're from Yonkers.
Yonkers?
Yonkers? I mean, yes, Yonkers. You should know Yonkers, Mrs. Malloy. Hudson River, Palisades Drives. Why, some say it's the most beautiful city in the world. I mean, that's what they say.
Is that so?
Well, Mrs. Malloy, if you have a Sunday free, we would like to show you Yonkers. It's very historic, too.
That's very kind of you. Perhaps. Now this friend of yours, about her hats.
Mrs. Malloy, is there have you, well, maybe Mr. Malloy would like to see Yonkers.
I'm a widow, Mr. Hackle.
You are? Oh, that's too bad. Mr. Malloy would have enjoyed Yonkers.
Very, very likely. Now this friend of yours, is she light or dark?
Oh, don't you think about that another minute. Anything you pick will be just fine with her.
Really? Do you like this one?
Barnaby. Look, Barnaby, look.
Oh, that's fine.
Mrs. Malloy, that is the most beautiful hat I ever saw.
is acting very strangely, Mr. Hackle.
Barnaby, stop acting strangely. When the street's quiet, come back and talk to us. Now, what was I saying? Yes, Mrs. Malloy, you should know Yonkers.
As a matter of fact, I have a friend from Yonkers. Perhaps you know him, although it's so foolish to ask in cases like that, isn't it? It's a Mr. Vandergelder.
What was it you said?
Then you do know him.
Horace Vandergelder?
Yes, that's right.
Know him? Why, no. Oh, Mr. Malloy, what an interesting shop you have here. And where does this door lead to?
Well, that's my workroom, Mr. Hackle.
Everything is so interesting. Every corner, every door. Oh, Barnaby, notice the interesting doors. Ooh, with closets. Deeply interesting. Coats for ladies. Oh, Barnaby, notice the table. A precious piece of furniture with a low-hanging cloth, I see.
Perhaps your friend might like some of that new Italian straw. Mr. Vandergelder's a very substantial man and is very well liked, they know.
Oh, yes, a lovely man.
Charming.
Has only one fault as far as I can see. He's hard as nails. Otherwise, as you say, a very charming nature, ma'am.
And a large circle of friends.
Oh, yes, 5 or 6. 5. I suppose he calls on you here from time to time, doesn't he?
This summer we'll be wearing ribbons down our backs. Yes, as a matter of fact, I'm expecting a call from him this afternoon.
I think it.
Now show you some more hats.
Oh, Barnaby! I'm begging your pardon, Mrs. Malloy.
Gentlemen, Mr. Hackle, come right on to the thing.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, help us just this once. We'll explain everything later.
Mr. Hackle.
We're terribly innocent, Mrs. Malloy.
Gentlemen, really, what are you doing? I can't have this.
Cornelius, pudding.
Pudding!
Irene, dear, how are you? Heaven be good to us, how well you look.
Oh, what a surprise. And Mr. Vandergelder in New York. What a pleasure.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy.
Yes, Mr. Vandergelder's in New York. Yonkers lies up there decimated today. Irene, we thought we'd pay you a very short call. Now you'll tell us if it's inconvenient for you, dear.
Inconvenient, Dolly. The idea, why, it's sweet of you to come.
Well, we waited outside a moment.
Mr. Vandergelder thought he saw 2 customers coming in, 2 men.
Men? Men, Mrs. Vandergelder? Why, what will you be saying next?
Then we'll sit down for a moment or
Oh,
two.
before you sit down, there's something I want to show you. I want to show Mr. Vandergelder my workroom, too.
Well, I've seen the workroom 100 times. I'll just stay here trying some of his hats.
Oh, no, Dolly, you come too. I have something for you. Come along, everybody. Mr. Vandergelder, I want your advice. You don't know how helpless a woman in business is. I feel I need advice from a fine business head like yours every minute. Now I close the curtain.
Maybe she wants us to go, Cornelius.
Of course we're not going to go. She'll just think we're foolish fellows. We just want to stretch a minute, that's all.
Well, what are we going to do when Mr. Vandergelder goes, Cornelius?
Well, I don't know. I like Mrs. Malloy a lot. I don't want her to think badly of me. I know, I'll buy a hat. But even if we have to walk all the way back to Yonkers. Barnaby, give me all the money you got left. That's it! Oh, jeez. Those perfumes in that closet tickle my nose. Oh, but I like it in there. It's a woman's world and very different.
I like it where I am too, Cornelius. Only I'd like it a whole lot better if I had a pillow.
Oh, here, take one of these. I'll roll it up so it doesn't get mussed. Ladies don't like to have their coats mussed.
Oh, that's fine. Now I can just lie here and listen to Mr. Vandergelder talk.
This summer we'll be wearing ribbons down our back.
Can I take my shoes off, Cornelius?
isn't the world full of wonderful things? I mean, there we sit in Yonkers, cooped up year after year, and the whole time, wonderful people like Mrs. Malloy are walking around New York, and we don't even know them. I don't know whether, from where you're sitting, that you can see, for instance, the way her eye, and her forehead, and her cheek come together right here. Well, can you? Oh, and the kind of fireworks that shoot out of her eyes all the time. I'll tell you right now, a fine woman is the greatest work of God. Oh, you can talk all you like about the pyramids and Niagara Falls, but they're not in it at all. Well, of course, I saw them up at Yonkers. They would come to the shop to buy this and that, and I would say, yes, ma'am, and that'll be 75 cents, ma'am, and I watched them. Today, talk to one. Equal to equal. Equal to equal. Oh, and to the greatest one that ever existed, in my opinion. They are so different from men. I mean, everything they say is so different, it just makes you feel like laughing all the time. Golly, they're different from men. Oh, and they're kind of mysterious, too. I mean, you're never really sure what's going on in their head. They have a kind of wall around them of pride and play acting. I bet you could know a woman for 100 years and never be really sure whether or not she liked you. This minute I'm in danger. I'm in danger of losing my job and my future and everything that everybody else thinks is important. But I don't care. I mean, even if I have to be a ditch digger who digs ditches for the rest of his life, I'll be a ditch digger who once had a wonderful day. Oh, Barnaby.
You woke me up.
Barnaby, we can't go back to Yonkers yet. You know why?
Why not?
We've had a good meal. We've had an adventure. We've been in danger of being arrested. But there is one more thing we've got to do before we go back to Yonkers to be successful.
Cornelius, you're never gonna kiss Mrs. Malloy.
Maybe.
But she'll scream.
Barnaby, you don't know anything at all. You might as well know right now that everybody except you and I goes through life kissing right and left all the time.
Well, thanks for telling me, Cornelius. I often wondered. Just a moment, Irene. I have to find my handkerchief. Why, Mr. Hackle, I thought you were in Yonkers.
I almost always am, Mrs. Levi. Oh, Mrs. Levi, don't tell Mr. Vandergelder. We'll explain everything later.
We're terribly innocent, Mrs. Levi.
Well, who is that?
Barnaby took me. Just make a call.
Well, who else is here?
Oh, no one, just the two of us.
Old friends of Mrs. Malloy, is that it?
Well, we didn't know her until just a few minutes ago, but we like her an awful lot, don't we, Barnaby? As a matter of fact, Mrs. Levi, I think she is the most wonderful person in the world, and I'm not afraid to tell that to anybody.
And does she think you're the most wonderful person in the world?
No. Suppose she doesn't even notice that I'm alive.
Oh, I'm sure she notices you're alive in that color, Mr. Harold. If I were you, I'd get back into it right away. Someone could be coming in any minute now.
Can I help you, Dolly?
Oh, no. I was just blowing my nose.
Mrs. Malloy, I have some advice to give you about your business.
Advice from Mr. Vandergelder. The whole city should hear this.
In the first place, the aim of business is to make profit.
That's so.
I never heard it put so clearly before. Did you hear it?
You pay those girls of yours too much. You pay them as much as men. Girls like that enjoy their work. Wages, Mrs. Malloy, are paid to make people do work they don't want to do.
Mr. Vandergelder thinks so ably, and he runs his business exactly that way up at Yonkers.
Mrs. Malloy, I'd like for you to come up to Yonkers.
That would be very nice. Thank you. As a matter of fact, I know someone from Yonkers or someone else.
Oh, who's that?
Someone quite well-to-do, I believe, although a little free and easy in his behavior. Mr. Vandergelder, do you know a Cornelius Hackle in Yonkers?
Cornelius Hackle? I know him like I know my own boot. He's my chief clerk.
Is that so?
He's been in my store 10 years.
I never.
Wait. Where would you have known him?
Oh, just one of those chance meetings.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, one of those chance meetings.
What? Chance meetings? Cornelius Hackle has no right to chance meetings. Where was it?
Really, Mr. Vandergelder, it's very unlike you to question me in such a way. I think Cornelius Hackle is better known than you think he is.
Oh, nonsense.
He's in New York often, and he's very well liked.
Well, the truth may as well come out now as later. Mr. Vandergelder, Irene is quite right. Cornelius Hackle is often in New York. Goes everywhere, has an army of friends. Why, everybody knows Cornelius Hackle.
He never comes to New York. He works all day in my store, and at 9 o'clock at night, he goes to sleep in the brand room.
So you think, but it's not so.
Dolly Gallagher, you're crazy.
Listen to me. You keep your nose buried so deep in your account books you don't know what's going on. It's true. By day, he's your trusted, devoted clerk. But at night, well, he just leads a double life. He's here at the opera, in the fine restaurants, and all the fashionable homes. Why, he's at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant 3 nights a week. The fact is, he's the winningest, gayest, naughtiest, most delightful man in New York. He's just the famous Cornelius Hackle.
It ain't the same man. If I thought Cornelius Hackle came to New York, I'd discharge him.
Who took the horses from Jenny Linn's carriage and pulled it through the street? Who? Cornelius Hackle. And who dressed up like a waiter at Fifth Avenue restaurant just the other night and dropped an oyster down the front of Mrs. Oh, it's too naughty to tell.
Oh, go on, Dolly, tell us.
No, but it was Cornelius Hackle.
It ain't the same man. Where'd he get the money?
Oh, but he's very rich.
Rich. I keep his money in my own safe. He has $146.35.
Mr. Vandergelder, you're killing me. Do come to your senses. He's one of the Hackles.
The Hackle?
They built the Raritan Canal.
Then why should he work in my store?
Well, I'll tell you.
I don't want to hear. I've got a headache. I'm going home. It ain't the same man. He sleeps in my brand room. He can't get away from the facts. I just made him my chief clerk.
Well, if you had any sense, you'd make him your partner. Now, Irene, I can see that you were as taken with him as everybody else is.
I only met him once, very hastily.
Ah, but I can see you were taken with him. Now, don't you be thinking of marrying him.
Really, Dolly, what are you thinking?
Maybe it would be fine. But think it over carefully. He breaks hearts like hickory nuts.
Who?
Cornelius Hackle.
Mrs. Malloy. How often has he called on you?
Really, Mr. Vandergelder, I'm telling you the truth. I only met him once in my life. Dolly Levi's been exaggerating so I just don't know where to look.
Excuse me, Mr. Malloy, but I need to get together that order for Mrs. Carter.
Oh, yes, I wanted to get that off before closing.
I want to send it off by the air girl. Oh, I almost got the coat.
Oh, okay, that Minnie.
songs were you sang?
Achoo!
Well,
Achoo!
God bless you.
It's true. There is a man in that cupboard. I'll explain it all to you another time. Thank you very much for coming and seeing me. Good afternoon, darling. Good afternoon, Mr. Vandergilder.
You're protecting a man in there.
There's a very simple explanation for all of this, but for the present, good afternoon.
Oh, Lord in heaven, the room is crawling with men. I'll never get over this.
Can't believe my eyes. The world's going to pieces.
Oh, come, Mr. Vandergilder. Ernestina Simple awaits us.
Mrs. Malloy, I shall trouble you again, and vice versa.
Irene, dear, when I think of all the interesting things you have in this room, well, make the most of it, dear. Goodbye. Goodbye.
So that was your idea of a practical joke, Mr. Hackle?
Oh, no, Mrs. Malloy, no!
Come out! There's nothing to be afraid of. I know all about these gentlemen. You think that just because you're rich, you can make up for all the harm you do with that?
Oh, no, no!
Oh, no.
See, this is the famous Cornelius Hackle who goes around New York tying people in knots. And this is Barnaby Tucker, another troublemaker. Minnie, choose yourself any hat and coat in the store. We're going out to dinner.
Pardon?
This Mr. Hackle is so rich and gay and charming. He's going to be rich and gay and charming to us. He dines 3 times a week at the Harmonic Gardens restaurant, does he? And he's taking us there now.
Mrs. Malloy, are you sure it's safe?
Hold your tongue, Minnie. We are in a position to put these men in jail if they so much as squeak.
Jail, Mrs. Malloy?
Jail.
Jail, Mr. Hackle. Officer Coggerty does everything I tell him to do. Minnie, you and I have been respectable for years. Now that we're in disgrace, we might as well make the most of it. Come into the workroom with me. I know some ways we can perk up our appearances. Gentlemen, back in a minute.
Mrs. Malloy, I know a perfectly fine restaurant at the railway station.
Very fine.
Certainly not. No, sir. You are going to give us a fine dinner in the heart of the fashionable world. Go on in, Minnie. And just you boys remember, you've made us lose our reputations, and now the fashionable world is the only place we can eat.
Oh, she's angry with us, Cornelius. Maybe we better run away now.
No, no. I'm going through with this if it kills me. Barnaby, for a woman like that, a man could consent to go back to Yonkers and be a success.
All I know is that no woman is going to make a success out of me.
No, no, jail or no jail, we're taking those ladies out to dinner, so grit your teeth.
Gentlemen, the cabs are at the corner, so forward, march.
Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Malloy, is the restaurant far? Perhaps we could all walk.
Minnie, take off your things. We're not going.
Mrs. Malloy.
Mr. Hackle, I do not go anywhere. I'm not wanted. Good night. I'm not very happy to have met
But
you.
Mrs. Malloy.
I suppose you think we're not fashionable enough for you.
Oh, no,
Well,
no.
I won't be a burden to you. Good night, Mr. Tucker.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, we want you to go with us more than anything in the world.
No, you don't. Just look at you. Look at the pair of them, Minnie, scowling, both of them.
Oh, please, Mrs. Malloy.
Then smile. Go on. Smile. No, that's not enough. Minnie, you come with me and we'll get our own supper.
Smile, Barnaby, you lout.
My face can't smile any stronger than this.
Then do something. Show some interest. something lively. Sing.
No, I can't sing. Really, I can't, Mrs. Malloy.
You're wasting our time, Minnie. They don't want us.
Oh, Barnaby, what songs do you know? Mrs. Malloy, the only songs we know are sad songs.
It doesn't matter. If you want us to come out with you, you have to sing something.
Tenting tonight, tenting on the old campground.
We'll come. Minnie, you get the front door key, and I'll check the workroom. Oh, Minnie, this is a world full of wonderful things. Watch me, dear. Tell me if my petticoats show me.
I don't want you to make any mistakes. I want a table for 3.
All 3.
There'll be 2 ladies and myself.
It's a bad combination, Mr. Vandergelder. You'll regret it.
And I want a chicken.
A chicken, you'll regret it.
Hold your tongue. Write it down, chicken.
Yes, sir. Chicken install AC, chicken hotel style, chicken à la
A chicken like everybody else has. And with the chicken, I want a bottle of wine.
Moselle, no Chablis, Beaujolais, no?
He doesn't understand English, Mr. Vandergelder. You better speak louder.
W-I-N-E.
Fine.
Vine. And, I want this table removed. We'll eat at that table alone.
There's some people coming in here now, Mr. Vandergelder.
Oh, it's my niece and that artist. Hey, what are they doing here? The traitors, the scoundrels.
Remember what Napoleon said, Mr.
There's
Vandergelder.
Mrs. Levi, too. Let me get my hands on
Mr.
that.
Vandergelder, remember what Napoleon said.
Napoleon said what?
First, observe the enemy. Listen, and hear what they're planning. Napoleon, be a Napoleon, sir. Outsmart them, Mr. Vandergelder.
Enjoy yourself, dear. Now, there's nothing wicked about eating in a restaurant. There's nothing wicked even about being in New York. Clergymen just make those things up to fill out their sermons.
Oh, I don't want to eat in a restaurant like this.
Oh, it's all right, dear. There are some lovely private rooms upstairs just meant for shy, timid girls like us.
Stack. I want to write a note.
Oh, yes, excuse me.
Go call that cabin in here. I want to talk with him.
No one asks advice of a cabin, Mr. Vandergelder. They see so much of life, they have no ideas left.
Do as I tell you.
Yes, sir. That's why he's still a cabman.
My dear Miss Van Huysen. Everybody's dear in the letter. It's enough to make you give up right now. My dear Miss Van Huysen, this is Ermengarde and that rascal Ambrose Timber. They are trying to run away. Keep them in your house until I come.
What does he want?
I want to talk to you.
I'm engaged. I'm waiting for my party.
I know you are. You want to earn $5.
Huh?
I ask you, you want to earn $5.
Well, I don't know. I never tried.
When that party of yours comes downstairs, drive them to this address. Never mind what they say. Take them to this address. Ring the bell. Give that note to the lady of the house. See them in the door and keep them there.
Oh, now I can't make people go into a house if they don't want to.
Can you for $10?
Even for $10, I can't do it alone.
This fellow here will help you.
Now I'm pushing people into houses.
There's the address. Miss Flora Van Huysen, 8 Jackson Street.
Now, even if I get them in the door, there's no way I can be sure they'll stay there.
For $15 you can.
Murder begins at $25.
Hold your tongue. Now, the lady of the house will help you. All you have to do is sit in the front hall and make sure the man doesn't run off with the girl. I'll be at Miss Van Huysen's in an hour or two, and I'll pay you then.
They call the police. There isn't anything I can do.
It's perfectly honest business. Perfectly honest. The young lady is my niece. The young lady is my niece.
Oh, yes.
We're preventing her from running off with a good-for-nothing.
Oh, I know them, sir.
they'll win in the end. Well, rivers don't run uphill.
What'd I tell you, Mr. Van Gelder? Advice of a cabman.
Stop! I'll be back in half an hour. See the table set for 3 and see that nobody else eats there. Then go and join the cabin on the box.
Very well, sir.
Who's your friend?
Friend? That's no friend. That's an employer I'm trying out for a few days.
Well, you won't like him.
I can see you're in business for yourself, because you talk about life's employers. No, it's like employers since business began. Oh, no, I bet you think your cab horse likes you.
My old Clementine? Why, she'd give a right beat for me.
That's what all employers think. You imagine it. The streets of New York are full of cab horses winking at one another. Here, let's go into the kitchen and get some whiskey. I can't push people into houses when I'm sober. No, I've had about 50 employers in my lifetime, but this employer's the most employer of them all. He talks to everybody as though he were paying them.
I had an employer once. He just watched me. From 8 in the morning until 6 at night, he just sat there and watched me. Oh dear, even my mother didn't think I was as interesting as all that.
Yes, being employed's like being loved. You know somebody's thinking about you the whole time.
See? Here's the place I meant. Isn't it fine, oh, Minnie? Take off your things. We will be here for hours.
Mrs. Malloy, are you sure you like it here? I think I feel a draft.
Indeed, I do like it. We're going to have a fine dinner right here in this room. It's private and it's elegant. Now let's forget all our troubles and call each other by our first name. Cornelius, call the waiter.
Wait! Wait! I must have got a cold on the ride here. My voice is gone. Wait! No, it just won't come.
I don't believe you, Barnaby. You call him.
Waiter!
I want to be in such a place in my whole life. That's what they call a cafe.
Yes, this is a cafe. Cornelius, Mrs. Levi gave us to understand that every waiter in New York knew you.
Oh, they will.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Fritz. How are you, my good friend? Yes, good old Fritz. Rudolph, yes, of course. Well, Rudolph, these ladies want a little something to eat, if you know what I mean. But just if you have the time, we know how busy you are.
Cornelius, there's no need to be so familiar with the waiter.
Oh, yes, there is.
Minnie, what do you want to eat?
Oh, just anything.
No, speak up, Minnie. What do you want?
Oh, no, really, I have no appetite at all. Oh, I like some, sardines on toast and a glass of milk.
Oh, great rhinestones, what a sensible girl. Barnaby, shake hands with Minnie. Say she's the most sensible girl in the world. Rudolph, us gentlemen will have 2 glasses of beer, a loaf of bread, and some cheese.
I've never heard of such nonsense. Cornelius, we've come here for a good dinner and a good time.
We.
Minnie? Have you ever eaten pheasant?
Oh,
Rudolph, have you any pheasant?
Yes, ma'am, just in front of Jersey today.
Oh, well, even the pheasants are leaving New Jersey. Now, Rudolph, write this down. Mock turtle soup,
Mock turtle soup,
pheasant,
faisson,
mashed chestnuts,
mashed chestnut,
green salad,
green salad,
and a nice red wine.
A nice red wine. Okay, Barnaby, watch this. Rudolph, write this down. A Neapolitan ice cream, hot house peaches, and some champagne.
Champagne?
And a German band. You got a German band?
No, Cornelius. I won't let you be so extravagant. Champagne with no band. Now, Rudolph, be quick about this. We're hungry.
Yes, ma'am.
Minnie, come upstairs with me. I have an idea about your hair. I think it'd be nice in 2 wee horns.
oh, hard.
hear that in the army they make you carry horses all the time.
Oh, that doesn't matter. By the time we get out of jail, we can just move over to the old men's home.
Waiter? Waiter, what's that you have?
This is some champagne, ma'am.
Cornelius, look! It's more champagne!
Thanks for his honor, the mayor of New York. He's very impatient.
Shame on him. The mayor of New York has more important things to be impatient about. Cornelius, open it.
Ma'am, he'll kill me.
Let have a glass first and die happy.
Kill me.
I go to a public restaurant for the first time in 10 years, and all the waiters burst into tears. Oh, no. You drink that and stop crying, Mom. Barnaby, make a toast.
To all the ladies of the world.
Yes.
May I get to know more of them. And may I get to know them better.
To the ladies.
That's very sweet and very refined. Bidding for that, I'm going to give Barnaby a kiss. Hold your tongue. I'm old enough to be his mother. And a very dear, wee mother I would have been, too. Barnaby, this is for you from all the ladies in the world.
Now I can go back to Yonkers, Cornelius. Pudding. Pudding! Pudding! Oops.
Ah! Look at Barnaby. He's not strong enough for a kiss. His head can't stand it. Oh, Minnie, I'm enjoying myself. To think that this goes on in hundreds of places every night while I sit at home darning my stockings. Cornelius? Dance with me.
Oh, Irene, the hackles don't dance. We're Presbyterian.
Minnie, you dance with me. That is you, Minnie. You dance beautifully.
We go back to the workroom with that.
You silently crossed and so you're going to ask me to dance? Well, Cornelius, Jenny and all those other ladies, do you see them all the time?
Oh, no, Irene, I took them right out of my head. I am only interested in you.
Rudolph, what are you doing?
Table has been reserved here, special order.
Stop right where you are. That party can eat inside. This veranda's ours.
I'm very sorry. This veranda is open to anybody who wants it. Ah, here comes the man who drops the old barrel.
Take your table away from here. We got here first. Cornelius, throw him out.
Ma'am, my employer reserved this room at 4 o'clock this afternoon. You ones can go eat in the restaurant. My employer said it's very important that he have the table alone.
No, sir, we got here first, and we're going to stay here alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a suggestion.
Shut up, you! You're an impertinent, idiotic killjoy.
That's an insult.
All the facts about you are insults. Cornelius, do something. Knock it over. The table.
Knock it over.
I'm very sorry, but this room can't be reserved for anyone. If you want to eat alone, you must go upstairs. I'm sorry, but that's the rules.
We are going to have a nice dinner, and we are going to stay here alone. Cornelius, get over.
Barnaby,
little. He puts his screen up between the tablets.
I won't eat behind the screen. I won't, Minnie. Make a noise. We're not animals in a menagerie, Cornelius. No screen.
And no screen.
Cornelius, it's water. Yes, it is.
Everybody, I think the screen's a good idea. Rudolph, you got any more screens? We can use 3 or 4.
Cornelius, quiet down. Stop changing your mind. Rudolph, we're ready for the soup now.
Dak! What's the meaning of this? I told you I wanted a table alone! What's this?
Miss Vandergelder, I did what I could, Mr. Vandergelder. You wouldn't believe what wild savages the people of New York are. There's a woman over there, Mr. Vandergelder. Civilization hasn't touched her.
Everything's wrong! You can't even manage a thing like that. Here, help me off my coat. Don't kill me! Don't kill me!
Speak up. I can't hear you.
It's my voice again. Barbie, because
No.
you talk, I can't make a sound.
Well, then we'll bring our heads together and we'll whisper.
Who are those people over there?
Oh, some city sparks and their friends, Mr. Vandergelder. What goes on in big cities, Mr. Vandergelder, you best not ask.
Has that couple come down from upstairs yet? I hope they haven't gone off without your noticing them.
Oh, no, sir, no. Myself and the cabmen have kept our eyes on everything.
I'll sit here and wait for my guests. You go out to the cab.
Yes, sir. Hey, what's this? Purse. Did you lose something, Miss?
I tell you, go out to the cab.
Purse. That young fellow over there must have let it drop during our misunderstanding about the screen. No, come on, look inside. $20 bills. Dozens of them. I'll go over and give it to him. You're surprised, huh? You're surprised I'm getting rid of this money so quickly. I'll explain it to you. There was a time in my life, and my chief interest was picking up money that didn't belong to me. The law's there to protect property, but sure, the law doesn't care whether the property owner deserves his property or not, and the law has to be corrected. There are several thousands of people in this country engaged in correcting the law. For a while, too, I was engaged in the redistribution of superfluities. A man works hard all his life and leaves $1 million to his widow. She sits in hotels and eats great meals and plays cards all afternoon and evening, with 10 diamonds on her fingers. Calling the robbers! Calling the robbers. He leaves it to his son, who stands leaning against a bar all night, boiling a bartender. Calling the robbers. Feelings are weakness. There are some people who say that you shouldn't have any weaknesses at all. No vices. But if a man has no vices, he's in great danger of making vices out of his virtues. Now there's a spectacle. We've all seen them. Men who were monsters of philanthropy and women who were dragons of purity. We've seen people who told the truth though the heavens fall and the heavens fell. No. Nurse at least one vice in your bosom. Give it the attention it deserves, and your virtues will spring up modestly around it. Then you'll have the miser who's no liar, and the drunkard who's a philanthropist for a whole city. Well, after I had that weakness of stealing for a while, I found another. I took the whiskey. Whiskey took to me. And that's when I discovered an important rule that I'm going to pass on to you. Never support two weaknesses at the same time. It's your combination sinners, your lecherous liars, and your miserly drunkards that dishonor the virtues and bring them into bad repute. So now you see why I want to get rid of this fun. I want to keep my mind free to do the credit to the whiskey that it deserves. And my last word to you, ladies and gentlemen, is this. One vice at a time. Excuse me, can I speak with you for a minute?
Yes, we're sorry about that business with the screen earlier, that little misunderstanding.
Yes, I'm very sorry.
Oh, it's nothing.
What's your name, sir?
Stack, sir. Malachi Stack. If you ladies would excuse me, can I speak with you for a minute? Listen, boy. Did you lose? Come over here. Did you lose something?
Mr. Stack, in this one day, I have lost everything I own.
Well, here it is. Don't mention it.
Well, you know what it is, Mr. Stack? It's a miracle.
Don't mention it.
Barnaby, come here a minute. Barnaby, I want you to shake hands with Mr. Stack. Mr. Stack just found the purse I lost, Barnaby. You know, the one with all the money.
Oh, you're a wonderful man, Mrs. Stack.
Oh, it's nothing.
Oh, I sure am glad I went to church all these years. Oh, Mr. Stack, you're a good man to know. By the way, Mr. Stack, where do you work?
Well, I've just begun. I work for Mr. Vandergelders in Yonkers.
You do?
Oh, boy.
Huh. It's a miracle. Mr. Stack, I know you don't need it, but let me give you something for all the good work.
Don't mention it. It's nothing.
Oh, here, take that.
Don't mention it.
And that.
Well, I better be going.
And here, take that.
No. Make it like
Irene, I feel better about everything. As a matter of fact, I feel so much better that I'm going to tell the truth.
Oh, Billy, I forgot that men get drunk so differently from women. All right, what is the truth?
Well, if I tell you the truth, will you let me put my arm around your waist?
I'll let you put your arm around my waist just to show it can be done in a gentlemanly way. But I may as well warn you, Mr. Hackle, of course it is a corset.
Mrs. McGoy, you are the most wonderful person in the world.
Thank you. All right, that's enough. Now tell me, what is the truth?
Well, the truth is, I'm not as rich as Mrs. Levi said I was.
Not rich.
No, and I almost never come to New York. And I'm not like she said I was, you know, fat. I think you ought to know, at this very minute, Mr. Vandergelder is sitting on the other side of that screen.
I'm not going to let him spoil any party of mine. So that's why you've been whispering. Let's forget all about Mr. Vandergelder and have some more wine. East side, west side, all around. Come on, you know the tune.
But I don't know the words.
Good evening, Mr. Vandergelder.
Where's Miss Clinton?
Mr. Vandergelder, I'll never trust another woman as long as I live.
Well, what is it?
She ran off this afternoon and got married.
She did.
Married, Mr. Vandergelder, to a mere boy of 50.
She did?
Oh, I'm as disappointed as you are. I don't think I could eat a thing. What have you ordered?
I ordered what you told me to. Chicken.
Oh, I don't think I could face the chicken. Oh, waiter. Oh, how do you do? What is your name?
August, Mom.
August. This is Mr. Vandergelder of Yonkers. Yonkers' most influential citizen, in fact. I want you to see that he serves with the best you have, and he serves promptly. And August, there'll only be the two of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Vandergelder's had some very trying experiences today. Men hidden all over Mrs. Malloy's hat shop like Indians in ambush.
You don't have to tell him everything about me.
Mr. Vandergelder, if you're thinking of getting married, you might as well learn now. You have to let women be women. Now, August, we'll expect excellent service.
Yes, ma'am. Very badly. When I plan a thing, it takes place. Where are you going?
I just want to see you on the other side of that screen.
Maybe a roar, strip the lights, fantastic.
Hello, Mrs. Levi.
The time of New York.
Well, who was that?
Oh, just some city sparks entertaining their girls.
Oh. Always curious about everything. Always putting your nose into other people's affairs. Anybody who lived with you would get as nervous as a cat.
What? What's that you're saying?
I said, anybody who lived with you would get as nervous
Horace
as a...
Vandergelder, stop that right this minute. I'm surprised you would even mention such a thing. Understand once and for all, I have no intention of marrying you.
I didn't mean that.
You've been hinting at such a thing for some time now. But from now on, put such ideas right out of your head.
Stop talking that way. That's not what I meant at all.
Well, I hope not. I should hope not. Horace Vandergelder, you go your way and I'll go mine. I know Irene Malloy's head could be turned with a pot of geraniums. Why, the very idea of you even suggesting such a thing.
Mrs. Levi, you misunderstood me.
Well, I certainly hope I do. If I had any intention of marrying anyone, it would be a far more pleasure-loving man than you. Why, I'd marry Cornelius Hackle before I'd marry you. However, we won't discuss it anymore. Here's August with our food. I'll serve it all.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's some white meat for you and some chicken. Very tender and very good for you. Start right in on the wine. You'll feel better at once. No, Horace, as I said before, you go your way and I'll go mine. However, since you brought the subject up, there is...
I didn't bring the matter up at all.
There's one thing I ought to say, but sit down, sit down. Since you brought the subject up, we'll forget about it forever in just a moment, but there is one thing I think I ought to say. It's true, I am a woman who likes to know everything that's going on, who likes to manage things. You're right about that. But I wouldn't want to manage anything as disorderly as your household, and out of control, and untidy. You'll have to do that yourself, God help you.
It's not out of control.
Very well, we won't discuss it any further. No, eat that, it's very good. No, Horace, a complaining, quarrelsome, friendless soul like you is no sort of companion for me. You go your way, and I'll go mine.
Stop saying that.
Very well, I won't say another word.
Besides, I'm not those things you said I am.
What? Well, I guess you're friendless, aren't morning you quarreled with your barber. A man who's held a razor to your throat for 20 years. Seems to me that's sinking pretty low.
We had a little discussion, and I just said, my clerks, they like me.
Cornelius Hackle and that Barnaby, like you. Behind your back they call you wolf trap.
They don't.
No worse. Seems to me as though I were the last person in the world who liked you, and even I'm just so-so. No, for the rest of my life, I intend to enjoy myself. You'll find a housekeeper who can prepare 3 meals for $1 a day. It can be done if you like cold baked beans. No, you'll spend your last days listening to keyholes, fearing someone's going to cheat you. Eat that, it's good.
Dolly, you're a damned exasperating woman.
There you see, that's the difference between us. All day I'd be begging you, trying to get some spirit into you. You know you can be a perfectly amiable, charismatic man if you want to be.
I don't want to be charismatic.
Well, look at you now. You can't hide it.
Listening to keyholes. Dolly, how dare you say such things to me?
Oh, Horace, at your age, you should enjoy hearing the honest truth. Now, you and I are both too old to talk nonsense to one another.
My age, my age. You're always talking about my age.
I don't know what your age is, but I do know that up in Yonkers with bad food and bad temper, you'll double it in 6 months. However, we won't discuss it anymore. But before we leave the subject, there is one thing I am going to say.
Don't!
It's true. Sometimes I would consider marrying you out of sheer pity. And if the confusion in your household gets any worse, I just may have to.
I haven't asked you to marry me.
Well, please don't.
Then my house is not in confusion.
What? With your niece upstairs in the restaurant right now.
Oh, I fix that better than you know.
Oh, and your clerks running around New York behind your back.
They're in Yonkers as always.
Oh, nonsense.
What do you mean, nonsense?
Cornelius Hackle's the other side of that screen, right now.
It ain't the same man.
All right. Go on. Push it. Knock it down. Go and see for yourself.
I don't believe it.
All right, Horace, all right. Gotta keep your chin. Now, Horace, if your affairs went from bad to worse, and you became actually miserable, I just may feel it was my duty to come up to Yonkers and see if I could be of some assistance to you. After all, I was your wife's oldest friend.
I don't know where you ever got any such notion. Now understand, once and for all, I have no intention of marrying anybody. Now I'm tired, I don't want to talk.
Very well, I won't say another word either.
I think we better go. Here, you take this and pay the bill. Oh, don't worry, it's not mine.
No, I have an idea. You put on our hats and capes, and if he comes stamping over here, he'll think you're girls.
Those things?
Yes, come on.
Oh, I've got a headache. I've had a bad day. I'm going over to Flora Van Huysen's. Then I'm going back to my hotel. So, here's the money to pay for the dinner. Here's the money to pay. I've lost my purse!
Impossible! I can't imagine you without your
Or
purse.
it's been stolen, or left in the cab. What are they going to do? I'm new at the hotel, they don't know me. I've never been here before. Stop eating that chicken, I can't pay for it.
Horace, I'll get us some money. Relax yourself.
Dolly Gallagher, I gave you $25 this morning.
I haven't a cent. I gave it to my lawyer. We can borrow some Ambrose timber upstairs.
I wouldn't take it.
Then Cornelius Hackle will listen to it.
He's in Yonkers!
Cornelius, is that Mr. Vandergilder's purse?
I didn't know it myself. I just thought it was money running around loose that didn't belong to anybody.
Oh, goodness, that's what politicians think.
Waiter!
know you're too old to dance now.
I ain't too old. Just don't want to dance. Oh.
Listen to that music.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh my God!
You're fired! Where's that idiot firing toucher? You're in charge! Come back here! Herman, guard! You're in charge!
You're discharged!
There's your life. Without niece, without clerks, without bride, without purse. Will you marry me now?
No!
Imagination, everything in life, like that disappointment, illusion, our plans, our hopes, what becomes of them, nothing. The story of my life. I'm only a bird in a gilded cage.
Thank God! Nothing's happened to the dear girl. Is it a long journey from Yonkers?
No. Oh, but long enough for 1,000 things to happen.
Well, we've been waiting all day. Don't you think we ought to call the police about it?
The police? Oh, if it's God's will, nothing can prevent it. Oh, in 3 days, in a week, in a year, we'll find out what's happened. And if anything really has happened to Ermengarde, it'll be a lesson to him. That's what it will be.
To who?
To that cruel uncle of hers, of course. To Horace Vandergelder and to everyone else who tries to separate young lovers. Young lovers have enough to contend with as it is. Who should know that better than I? No one. The story of my life. Oh, there, now, I hear a cab. Quick, 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 quick. Oh.
No. No, ma'am. I don't see anything.
There, what did I tell you? Everything is imagination, illusion.
But surely if they'd changed their plans, Mr. Vandergelder would have sent you a message.
No, I know what happened. The poor child probably thought she was coming to another prison, another tyrant. If only she'd known that I was her friend and a friend to all young lovers, she would have been here by now. Yes, she would. Her life shall not be crossed with obstacles and disappointments. Oh, look! A minute ago, my smelling salts were right there on the table. Now they have completely disappeared. Oh, where would they be? Under here? No. Under here? No. Under here? No. Under here? No. Oh, where are they?
Why, there they are, ma'am. Right there in your hand.
Yes, how did they get there? Well, I won't inquire. Stranger things have happened.
I suppose Mr. Vandergelder was sitting her down with someone.
Well, two can go astray as easily as two.
God bless you. Now here's the carriage stopping.
Well, go and open the door, cook. You probably... It sounds as though I heard voices.
I don't want to go inside. This is a free country, I tell you.
Here you go, we have our order.
You can't make a person go where he doesn't want to go.
Hi. Are you Miss Van Huysen?
Yes, I am, unfortunately. What is all this noise about?
Well, people here that Mr. Vandergelder said should be brought here and kept here until he gets it here. And here's his letter to you.
No one can tell me whom I'm to keep in my house if they don't want to say.
You're right, ma'am. Everybody's always talking about people trying to break into houses, ma'am. But there are more people in the world trying to break out of houses. That's what I always say.
Ma'am, this young lady and I don't belong here. You see, we jumped into a cab and asked to be driven to the railway station, but these two men brought us to this house and forced us inside. There's been a mistake.
Are you Miss Van Huysen?
Everybody keeps asking me if I'm Miss Van Huysen. I think that's a matter I can decide for myself. Now, will everyone please be quiet while I read this letter? This is Ermengarde and that rascal Ambrose Kemper. Oh, well, now we know who you two are, anyway. They are trying to run away. Oh, the story of my life. Mr. Kemper, you have nothing to fear at all. Who are you?
I'm Joe. I stay here until the old man comes. He owes me $15.
That's right, Miss Van Huysen. We have to see that they don't escape.
Oh, dear child, come and take your things off, and we'll all have some coffee. You two sit down in the hall and wait. I'll send some out to you.
Miss Van Huysen, there's been a mistake.
Oh,
You see, we really don't belong
Kemper,
here.
I am not the tyrant you think I am.
But Miss Van Huysen, you see,
You
I
don't
am not...
have to be afraid of me.
But he is not
I
going to
know
do
you
that.
are trying to run away with this innocent young girl.
Dicky Bird.
Oh, be quiet! All my life, I have suffered from the interference of others who shall not suffer as I did. So, put yourself entirely in my hands. Oh, my dear God. Oh, my. Where is your luggage?
It's,
I'll get it tomorrow. It's been mislaid.
Miss Lane, oh, how like life. Well, Ermengarde, you shall put on some of my clothes. Oh, she's a shy little thing, isn't she? Timid little darling. Cook? Yes, ma'am. Would you go into the kitchen and put some gingerbread in the oven and get the coffee started? Yes, ma'am. While I draw a nice hot bath for Ermengarde.
Uh-oh! Miss Van Huysen, you really don't want to give her a
Believe
bath.
me, Ermengarde, your troubles are at an end. You two will be married tomorrow. Oh, my dear, you look exactly as I did in your age. And your sufferings have been as mine. While you're bathing, I'll come in and tell you the story of my life.
I don't feel that. I always catch cold. Always catch cold.
No, dear, you won't catch cold. I'll slap you all over.
Bartley, do you think we can jump down from this window? Yes.
We put ourselves. Yes.
All right, we'll just have to sit here and wait for something to happen. Barnaby, the situation's desperate.
It began getting desperate at about 4:30, and it's been getting worse ever since. Now I have to take a bath and get slammed all over.
Oh, Ermengarde, you've still got those wet things on. And your bath is nearly ready. Mr. Kemper, why don't you come into the kitchen and put your feet in the oven? Oh, it's the doorbell. I expected you were on. There's the doorbell.
It's another man and a girl in a cab.
Well, go and let them in, cook. You two come with me.
But I don't feel that. I haven't
Gelder will be here in a few minutes.
Oh, Ambrose. You can't go.
Ambrose.
Here with those drunken men in the hall.
Ambrose, I have an idea. We'll tell them that you're somebody that my uncle sent to take care of me. Yes, we'll say that you're Cornelius Hackle.
Who's Cornelius Hackle?
Oh, he's chief clerk in Uncle's store.
I don't want to be Cornelius Hackle. No, Ermengarde, I'll take you away with me now. I'll take you to my friend's house, or I'll take you to Miss Levi's house.
Mrs. Levi was the one who threw us in Uncle Horace's face in the first place. Oh, I wish I were back in Yonkers, where nothing ever happened. I thought I told you to wait in the hall.
What is all this I hear? Who do you say you are?
Aunt Flora. You don't remember me. I'm Ermengarde.
You're Horace Vandergelder's niece?
Yes, I am.
But he has just sent me another niece named Ermengarde.
Oh, he doesn't have.
And who is that?
This is Cornelius Hackle.
Never heard of him.
He's chief clerk in Uncle's store.
Never heard of him. If the other Ermengarde came with the man she's in love with, then that proves it. She came with Mr. Ambrose Kemper.
Ambrose Kemper?
Yes, Mr. Hackle. And Ambrose Dear child, what is your trouble?
Oh, nobody's anybody anymore.
Are you in love with
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, I could see it. And are people trying to separate you?
Oh, yes, they are.
Oh, I could see it. Oh, Horace Vandergelder. Oh, Mr. Hackle, consider me your friend. Now, let's all go into the kitchen and get warm. We can decide later who everybody is. My dear, would you like a good hot bath?
Oh, yes, I would.
Oh, well, when Ermengarde comes out, you can go in.
This man poison me.
Mr. Kemper, this is Cornelius Hackle. Mr. Hackle, this is Ambrose Kemper. Perhaps you two know one another.
No, we don't. Miss Van Huysen, I know that man is not Ambrose Kemper. And he is not Cornelius Hackle.
My dear young man, what does it matter what your names are? The important thing is that you are you. You are alive and breathing, aren't you, Mr. Hackle?
Ouch! Miss Van Huysen.
This dear child imagines that she is Horace Vandergelder's niece, Ermengarde.
But I am Ermengarde.
The important thing is that you are all in love. Everything else is illusion.
Ouch, Miss Van Huysen.
Everybody keeps asking me if I misspend. You two gentlemen sit down and have a nice chat while this dear child has a good hot bath.
There's the doorbell again.
Well, that's it.
It's another cab and 3 ladies. I never saw such a night.
You gentlemen can rest easy. I'll see that Horace Vandergelder lets his nieces marry you.
Laura, dear, how are you?
Darling Gallagher, what brings you here?
Lord in heaven, Flora, what are those 2 drunken men doing in your hall?
I don't know. Horace Vandergelder sent them to me.
Well, I've brought you 2 girls in much the same condition, but other than that, they're the finest girls in the world. I'd like you to meet Irene Malloy.
Oh, delighted to know you.
And this is Minnie Betty. Gentlemen, I see you 2 are here. Mr. Hackle? I was about to look for you, somewhere here.
Oh, no, Mrs. Levi. I'm just about ready to face anything now.
Mr. Vandergelder will be in a minute. He's downstairs trying to pay for a cab without any money.
Oh, I'll help him.
Oh, yes, you do that, dear. You had to pay the restaurant bills. You must have hundreds of dollars in there, it seems.
This is his own purse he lost. I can't give it back to him without seeing it.
Oh, I'll give it back to him, dear. Now, you help him with this.
I'll take care of that, Mr. Vandergelder.
Hello, Mr. Vandergelder. How are you?
$15, Mr. Vandergelder.
You're discharged. You two. I caught up with the both of you at last. I never want to see you again. You're discharged. Get out of the house, both of you.
Now then, you'll stop ordering people out of my house. I mean, you can shout and carry on all you want in Yonkers, but while you're in my house, you'll behave yourself.
They're both dishonest scoundrels.
Take your hat off. You two stay right where you are.
Mr. Vandergelder, I can explain everything.
Oh,
You
no,
see
no,
what
no,
happened is we
Mr.
decided that we might go out on the town.
There are not going to be any explanations. Oh, Horace, stop scowling at Mr. Kemper and forgive him.
That's not Kemper. That's a dishonest rogue named Cornelius Hackle.
Oh, you're crazy. This is Mr. Hackle.
I guess I ought to know my own chief clerk.
I don't care what their names are. You shake hands with them both, or out you go.
Shake hands with those dogs and scoundrels.
Mr. Vandergelder, you've had a terrible day. You don't want to go out in the rain. Now, just for form's sake, shake hands with them. You can start quarreling again tomorrow.
There. Now, don't consider that a handshake. I never want to see you again.
Don't push. Miss Van Huysen,
Oh, yes, dear?
do I smell coffee?
Yes, dear.
Could I have some nice and black?
Oh, everybody come along and go into the kitchen. We'll all have some coffee. That will make us all feel better, I'm sure. Is she all right? Yes, that will take care of everything. There you are. Oh, Horace. Horace, I think you'll be interested to know that there are 2 hermit guards in there.
Ephraim Levi, I'm going to get married again. Ephraim, I'm going to marry Horace Vandergelder for his money. I'm going to sit it out doing all the things you taught me. Oh, it won't be a marriage in the sense that we had one, but I shall certainly make him happy. And Ephraim, I'm tired. I'm tired of living from hand to mouth, and I'm asking your permission, Ephraim. Will you give me away? Money, money, money. It's like the sun we all walk under. It can kill and it can prove. Horace Vandergelder is never tired of saying, most of the people in the world are fools. And in a way, he's right, isn't he? Himself, Irene, Cornelius, myself. But there comes a moment in everybody's life when he must decide whether he'll live among human beings or not. A fool among fools, or a fool alone. As for me, I've decided to live among them. I wasn't always so. After my husband died, I retired into myself. Yes, in the evenings, I'd put out the cat, lock up the door, and make myself a rum toddy. And before I went to bed, I'd say a little prayer. thanking God that I was independent, that no one else's life was all mixed up in mine. Before 10 o'clock struck from Trinity Church Tower, I fell off to sleep and was perfectly contented. Then one night, after 2 years of this, an oak leaf fell from my Bible. I had placed it there on the day my husband asked me to marry him. A perfectly good oak leaf, but without color and without life. Suddenly I realized that for a long time I had not shed one tear. Nor had I at any moment been outrageously happy. Nor had I been filled with the wonderful hope that something or other would turn out well. I saw that I was like that oak leaf. And on that night, I decided to rejoin the human race. On that night, I heard many hours struck from Trinity Church Tower. You and I have both known many people who have decided, like Horace Van Gelder, like myself for a long time, not to live among human beings. Oh, yes, they go out among them. They talk to them. They even marry them. But at heart, they decided to have nothing to do with the human race. If you accept human beings and are willing to live among them, then you acknowledge the fact that every man has the right to his own mistakes. Yes, we're all fools. And we're in danger of creating a good deal of havoc in the world with our folly. But the one thing that can keep us from harm is to fill our lives with the 4 or 5 human pleasures that are our right in the world, and that takes a little money. Not much, but a little. The difference between no money and a little money is enormous and can shatter the world. The difference between a little money and an enormous amount of money is very slight. That also can shatter the world. Money. Pardon my expression. Money is like manure. It isn't worth a thing unless you spread it around, encouraging young things to grow. Anyway, that's the opinion of the second Mrs. Horace Benton.
This bad poison asked me to bring you this.
Well, thank you both. Sit down and rest yourself.
No, thank you. I'm not tired.
What's going on in the kitchen?
A lot of foolishness. Everybody's falling in love with everybody. I forgave you. For regarding that artist.
Oh, I knew you would. Too?
I made Cornelius Hackle my partner.
Oh, you won't regret it.
Dolly, you said some mighty unpleasant things to me in the restaurant tonight. All that about my house and everything.
Well, let's not say another word now.
Dolly, you have a lot of faults.
I know what you mean.
You're bossy, you're scheming, you're inquisitive, you're a...
Go on.
But you're a wonderful woman. Dolly, marry me.
Horace, stop right there.
I know I've been a fool about Mrs. Malloy and that other woman, but Dolly, forgive me. Marry me.
Horace, I don't dare. No, I don't dare.
Well, what do you mean?
You and I both know that you're the first citizen of Yonkers. Now, naturally, you'd expect your wife to keep an open house, to have scores of friends in and out all the time. Your wife would have to be used to that sort of thing.
Dolly, you can live any way you like.
Now, you can't deny it. Any wife of yours would have to be a somebody. Answer me. Am I a somebody?
You are. Wonderful woman.
Oh, you're partial. Now, Horace, it won't be enough to load your wife with money and jewels and insist that she she'd be a benefactress to half the city. Tell me, Horace, do you think I have it in me to be a credit to you?
Dolly, everybody knows that you can do anything you want.
Well, I will try. With your help, I'll try. Oh, and Horace, by the way, I found your wallet.
Where did you? Wonderful woman.
Well, it just walked into my hands. I don't know how I do it myself. Sometimes I frighten myself. Horace, keep it. Money has a way of walking out of my hands, too. I never thought I'd ever hear you say such a thing. Oh, excuse me, I didn't know that anyone was here.
Didn't know anyone was here. Idiot!
Come in, Barnaby, come in.
Come in, Barnaby. Come in.
Cornelius is going to marry Mrs. Malloy.
Oh, isn't that fine? Horace.
Barnaby, go in and tell the rest of them that Mrs. Levi has consented.
Finally consented.
Finally consented to become my wife.
Holy cabooses! Hey, everybody, listen! Wolf Chop! I mean, Mr. Vandergelder is gonna marry Mrs. Levi.
Oh, Dolly, that's the best news I have ever heard. Oh, there isn't any more coffee and there isn't any more gingerbread, but there are 3 couples in my house and they're all going to be married. And do you know, one of those Ermengardes wasn't a dear little girl at all. She was a boy. Oh, well, that's what life is. Disappointment. Illusion.
There isn't any more coffee, there isn't any more gingerbread, and there isn't any more play. But there is one more thing we ought to do. Barnaby, come here. I think the youngest person here should tell us the moral of the play.
I think it's about adventure. Now, the test of an adventure is that when you're in the middle of it, you say to yourself, oh, now I've gotten myself into an awful mess. I wish that I were sitting quietly at home. And then the sign that something is desperately wrong with you is when you're sitting quietly at home, wishing that you were out having lots of adventures. So that now, we'd all like to thank all of you for coming tonight. And we hope that your lives have just the right amount of sitting quietly at home, and then just the right amount of adventure. Good night.